everybody. Welcome to History Talks. My name is Rhiannon Luna and I'm the Executive Director here at the Gaslamp Quarter Historical Foundation. Tonight's lecture is San Diego's Palace of the Arts, the magnificent Villa Montezuma. And our lecturer tonight is Louise Torio, who has been working at the Villa for many years and will tell us the wonderful stories and the unique connection between our house and the Villa.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I really appreciate being able to speak to you today. I am Louise Torio. I am chair of the Friends of the Villa Montezuma Museum. And for those that don't know, the Villa Montezuma Museum, and in the tiles on the floor, we've got a part of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet in the tile work. And everything is patterned. We have reproduced this wallpaper upstairs. So one of the things that's wonderful about today is you get to find stuff on eBay and you get to buy things that are a treasure to you and somebody just thought it was old junk. So one of the things we got was a letter written by Jesse Shepard, and this quote is from that letter: that the atmosphere at this season is vibrant with a strange new life and psychic vitality. So this man does this eccentric Palace of the Arts, and this picture I love because it was taken here in San Diego. So now you see the maturer man, not the boy in the other picture. Very handsome, very much at ease in the world. Making friends with everybody. He was quite a sought-after guest. He was friends with one of the Mrs. Hortons, and truly got to know all the who's who in San Diego of the time. And another shot of the villa where you get to see the onion dome appearance of the tower, which is so very, very cool. The finial on this tower, here's the Four Seasons in the stained glass. This is the music room. The finial had broken off about 25 years ago. And the Friends of the Villa restored the finial, and we would take it like show and tell when we do outreach events. And when we got our new roof, we got to put the finial back. So the tower is the defining element that you can see from downtown, and this is where his writing career started, in the tower of the Villa Montezuma. These windows here, which you can barely see, but these are in the drawing room, and they represent his favorite authors from England, from Germany, and from France, and the portraiture is beautiful. So here's what your neighborhood looks like from our neighborhood. This is in the tower, and this is looking downtown. You can see how fanciful the roof line is. You can see we're looking over I-5 here, and taking people up in the tower from elected officials to back when we had CCDC, when we had redevelopment, we were seeking redevelopment funds. This convinced them that the Villa Montezuma really was a downtown museum. Don't let the highways that you put in the 40s fool you. We were part of downtown. So, Villa built 1887. Jesse owns it for 2 years. For about a year of that time, he was fulfilling concert obligations, and his parents and his sister lived in the villa. But Jesse comes back to San Diego, and the boom goes bust. We have the economic downturn that changed everything here. So a lot of you know that San Diego is a boom town. 40,000 people, a big major city, went down to only about 16,000 people in about 3 months. No work, no eat, no unemployment insurance. And Jesse made his money by giving concerts. It's not like he got a stipend to go with the blank check of the house. He he earned his living. So Jesse only owned the house for 2 years. He sold it fully furnished. He took his portrait with him, but subsequent owners then sold Jesse's items. So we furnished the house to 1887, but we had very few things that were actually Jessie Shepard's house. This is a postcard from 1908, and it shows the Villa Montezuma as a San Diego landmark. It also shows the villa in the new century, painted all white, the whole house beautiful movement, the whole idea of the purity of classical design. Well, when you do that to a Victorian, you are stripping it. You are making it naked. You are making this not what the original intent was. You paint a Victorian white and it defines the term white elephant. You know, it's going, please give me colors back. Please, I need my colors in order to show you how beautiful I am. So an all-white villa, we know that the owners of the time were trying to keep up with the times. An all-white villa is not cool. So what happened to Jessie Shepard? Why should we care? Well, Jessie Shepard still performs, still does his musical seances, and this says psychic pianist paints music pictures of your moods. And this is the media of the time dramatizing what Jessie Shepard did. Jesse hated frauds, and he hated all the fakes out there. He was very upset because for people that believe that they have a gift, when others are out there saying, sure, I can contact grandma for, $10, it's so upsetting. If you know history, you know how the whole fraud movement and the bells ringing and tables rising and all this stuff, you know that Abraham Lincoln's wife, with such grief over the loss of children, turned to psychics, and it was just a totally horrible situation, ripping off people who were in grief. So Jesse really hated that. The Spiritists are the lowest plane of all. Small sums of money are handed to a medium as if wisdom and inspiration could be bought like coffee. He believed that a gift is a gift, and you shouldn't cheapen your gift. You know too, I'm sure, about Houdini who disproved so much. And when a medium said, I've got your beloved mother here, and she's saying this, and guess what? Houdini's mother didn't speak English. Fraud. So I just wanted to share with you some of Jessie Shepard's writings as Francis Grierson. He wrote a number of books, and the big one was The Valley of Shadows. That was the one that never went out of print. That was the one that was taught in history classes, looking back as while it is a novelization because he's combining people that he knew, and it's not an easy read because he's writing in the dialects of all the different people who emigrated to the center of this country. It is a wonderful book. His last book is the one that makes people go, ha ha, he was crazy. His last book is called Psychophone Messages for 1921, and it is not what you think. So there was a thing called a psychophone, okay? We're not making this up. A psychophone was a device that actually was a almost self-hypnosis machine. You could record something on the psychophone, like a record, and play it back as you were going to sleep. So whether the message was, I will quit smoking, or I will lose weight, Jesse is saying, what if the psychophone can pick up the psychic atmosphere and tell us, connect us to the past. So Jessie is writing in the very transitional time of the early 20s as if great leaders of the past could so easily talk to you as if hearing it on a psychophone. So he wasn't crazy, it's not craziness. Jessie lived a great life. And I'm going to tell you about his final performance. At the end of it all, work and right living are the only means of obtaining peace and contentment. So Jessie Shepard, now known as Francis Grierson, leaves San Diego, back traveling the world, settles in London, comes back to America just by chance, right before the outbreak of what we now call World War I, before the Great War. Friends of his who were Russians had settled in Los Angeles. And they said, why don't you and Tanner come here? Come live with us. You're getting on in years. Weather's great. Why don't you come? And we've got plenty of room. So they come to Los Angeles, and in the era of the 20s, a lot was going on. It was vibrant. Things were happening. People were throwing off the sadness of the Great War and having a big old party. And Victorian gentlemen don't easily adapt to that. You know, it's really hard to keep being contemporary. So that was not Jessie's life. It was also a very private life. Jessie didn't talk about his personal life. This was not something that was done. Now when everybody is posting who they're dating in the morning and they broke up with them and who they're dating in the evening, it's too much information. It's a lot of information. Jessie was very, very, very private. So, his friends, his literary friends, his artistic friends did not know that Jessie did not have a lot of money. He actually was very poor. When you have a palace of the arts, and he was always very proud of the villa. Actually, living in Los Angeles, he would send his friends down here to go see the Villa Montezuma. And he would say, please tell me how the gardens are doing. And why were his friends coming down to San Diego? When Prohibition hit, you could get drinks in Mexico, so that was what the ride was. Jessie never came back to see the villa. I think that life throws you curves sometimes, and you do the best you can with what happens in your life, but he didn't want to see this high point in his life. So his friends say, Jessie, they noticed when a pocket watch and a ruby ring went out for cleaning and did not return. These were treasured items. What happened? Well, Jessie pawned them. He didn't want his friends to know. Their absence spoke volumes, and they said, Jessie, please allow us to introduce you to our sponsors, our patrons of the art. Please allow this. We care about you. Our friends have money. They want to support the arts. So they arranged for Jessie to have a dinner and a meet and greet at the Russian's house. And Jessie was going to perform at the piano. And it was a wonderful evening. Everybody loved hearing from Jessie, loved his stories. He was still a brilliantly talented pianist, and he performed in the evening. And it was getting very late, and he announced he was going to do his last performance. And he played a very dramatic piece at the piano. Now, Jessie was very tall and thin and supposedly had a very large hand span, an octave and a half on the piano. This car's got to go before I finish the story. Jesse plays his dramatic piece, ends in a great flourish, hands on the last chord, closes his eyes, bows his head, and everybody's applauding. And Tana realizes something is wrong. And that's how Jessie Shepard passed away, at the piano with a room full of people applauding him. How perfect is that? That is so perfect. That is how I want to go, with a room full of people applauding me. It was perfect. But the newspapers were not kind. Remember, the whole sensational journalism really got hold in the 20s. So the newspapers say that Jesse Shepard, Francis Grierson, died of starvation. He didn't die of starvation, but he had medical issues and he did not have money. So it was the combination. So modern times, let me tell you where we are today. 6 subsequent owners after Jesse Shepard. And then Kay Porter came along. Kay Porter, wonderful, incredible person who has been involved in civic things in San Diego for 60 years. So Kay was a president of the San Diego Historical Society. And in the mid to late 60s, museums were thinking about the bicentennial coming. What are we going to do for the bicentennial? And the issue of, is our museum relevant? Is our museum reaching the people? Or are we just talking to ourselves? So Kay made it her mission to have the Historical Society expand. Now at the time, the Historical Society was only in the Serra Museum up the hill. And Kay said, we need the Villa Montezuma. The last private owner of the villa was a very elderly woman who had bought it in the 50s with her husband, and the neighborhood had taken a downturn then. Kay was the one who got 4 other friends together. They each put in $5,000 to buy the museum, to buy the villa, to turn it into the museum. So Kay is still around. She still lives downtown, and she just did amazing work, and she still volunteers with us. So Kay and the 4 other friends bought the villa for $25,000. And they put together the deal where the city of San Diego would then purchase it off of them if the San Diego Historical Society would do the restoration. And that's where all that fundraising came about. 1970 to 72, the house was fixed, painted, cleaned, and opened as a museum in 72. So this is the logo at the time of the San Diego History Center. And what you can see is this half is the Serra Museum, and this half is the Villa Montezuma. Combined, this equaled the San Diego Historical Society. It was opened as a museum where you could sit on the furniture and experience Victorian life and hang out. It opened as a cultural center. This is what the music room looked like at the time, decorated to 1887. These items, not Jesse's again, but decorated to the period. And you get to see how beautiful the music room is, where each wall represents a different art. So the big wall over there is dedicated to poetry. Greek poet Sappho in the center, and characters from John Milton's poetry on the side there. It interpreted Victorian life. It shared with people what old Sherman Heights looked like. Remember, this was opening as a museum at a time when Victorian buildings were getting knocked down. This was like, really, you want to do this, Historical Society? This was an investment saying, this is our history, This is beautiful. It's actually magnificent, and it's worth it. This is the drawing room where you can better see his favorite authors in the glass on the right side there. Gorgeous, absolutely incredible and gorgeous. And this is the upstairs retreat with a better view of those tower stairs that we're not allowed to bring you up. So, 2006 and the Great Recession. There was nothing great about that recession. That was horrible. That was super bad. That was so many nonprofits had problems staying alive. So many institutions were forced to look at what they had and what they could deaccession to keep things going, okay? So the San Diego Historical Society changed its name. It became the History Center to be more relevant. And they had a number of directors that were, quote, financial folks. Now, if you're a financial folk and you're not a museum person and you decide to save money, you're going to reduce staff, and you get rid of your development director, what's going to happen? You're not writing grants, you're not getting money in. So you have to have a museum mindset to understand what you do today pays off tomorrow. The Friends of the Villa, we were the support group, we were the fundraisers, we were the docents, we were the children's program educators. We did all this stuff. We were 100% true blue San Diego Historical Society people, and we had to become our own nonprofit because the San Diego History Center was no longer going to support the institution. 2009, the History Center gives the museum back to the city and says, we're unadopting the baby. Thank you very much. What heartbreak. What heartbreak. This was absolutely horrible because the city didn't want it, okay? We said, let us run it for you. And how the agreement was that only the Historical Society could run it. The joke was, see, the History Center couldn't run it, the Historical Society could. It was grave times. Very major decisions were made that affected a lot of things. So, fast forwarding, oh my goodness, when you're dealing with bad times and you're dealing with city and elected officials, and we're in a city, you all lived through this if you've been here the past 10 years, you've heard Charger Stadium or whatever is the hot button that consume time and resources and energy from our elected official, where we're trying to say good things, history, important. So now after the crap, the good. So in 2013, the Friends of the Villa were asked to partner with the city on a CDBG grant. We wrote the entire narrative because we were the only ones who could write that narrative. We were the only ones who could analyze what we did in the past, the neighborhood, the benefits, etc. So partnership with the feds, with HUD, got us $882,000, which was amazing. And part of the crap happening, redevelopment went away. We had worked for years on a deal with CCDC, and then redevelopment went away. Okay, so they were crazy, crazy times. And 2014 and 2015, we used that funding to restore the foundation, which was failing. We had half a new foundation, new to 1976. That was new for us. And the other half was original brick. And we needed a new roof, and the chimneys were failing. We had chimneys with no mortar between the bricks. In an earthquake, we were terrified that the people who lived behind the villa in Shepherd's Garden would be no more. because of failing chimneys. So, cut off a little bit, but June 27th, 2015 was the soft reopening of the villa. And this is where all the elected officials came out, and it started a new era. So as part of that grant, we must, or I should say, the city of San Diego must open the museum for free 4 times a year because it's your tax dollars at work. So for 5 years, 4 times a year, this museum is guaranteed to be open. We have been doing this now for 3 years. Our tours are always packed. This is a City of San Diego event that the Friends of the Villa Montezuma take care of for them. The city wants people to sign up on their event line, and we handle all the tours. So people get to see the new roof, and they get to see the beautiful details. This is inside the dining room. And here you go, David. You get to see very well-trained docents sharing Jesse's story. And this, I just love this view. At night, the windows still glow. I just wanted to throw that in there. And you can see the villa yourself. We are going to be open again on Saturday, October 20th. And the format is that there are 7 guided tours on the half hour from 9 a.m. through noon. And if you go to our website, you'll see the details, villamontezumamuseum.org. If it does not have museum, it's not our website. 3 words, www.villamontezumamuseum.org has all the information. If you want to register for a tour, and I think we have something like, the capacity is about 245 people. So like the 11 o'clock tour, I think, is almost filled. I think we've got like over 100 people that have registered so far. To register for a tour, you've got to go to the city event website. And that is at www.sdrecconnect.com. sdrecconnect.com. That is the city's event website, and is mostly if you have a kid doing sports in school. It is frustrating, folks. It will ask you all these questions like, why? Why do you need to know my birthday? Why? And people go, and you need my blood type? What's going on here? So we say to people, make it up. Make it up. Basically, they want to know that you're not a child, okay? For people that just go, hello, I just hate this crap, I do not want to spend 10 minutes doing an account, send an email to me and I will put you on my family and I will reserve you in this. Reserving helps the city do the liability form. We will also take you if you walk up. We have never not taken people, okay? So the city will say, only 35 people for a tour, and we go, that's what we're doing, shush, come on, let's go. So you can always let me know, and I can get you registered. Where are you going? Where are you going? Here, in there. So you go to the backyard of the villa. You'll see 2 booths. First one will be the Friends of the Villa Montezuma, okay? Second one will be the city to check you in. You will, if you registered online, you bring that registration email with you to make it easy for the kid from the city, from Park and Rec working there. All this is free, it's free, it's free. And we will be there to help you. So if you walk up, we'll get you in. You can support the Friends of the Villa's efforts. Membership is only $25 a year for us. And we are looking to get this museum open permanently, okay? Because this is silly. If you told me back in 2006 that I'd be in front of you in 2008 telling you that this museum isn't open all the time, this is crazy. We need this museum open because in order to share the history of San Diego, we need to be able to say, come to the Davis-Horton house first, understand the beginnings of Victorian San Diego, then come up the hill and see the Villa Montezuma and see how the boom influenced things. We do walking tours of the Sherman Heights Historic District. So the next tour that we're going to do is on Saturday, September 29th. It's 10 a.m. to noon. We do a walk of the western side of the district. We say it's 10 a.m. to noon, but I have to just explain that we're only as fast as the slowest walker. So we ask people if you're bringing great-grandma, and we've had this. We've had people who grew up in Sherman Heights, and they are saying, I have to bring great-grandma because she grew up there, and we would love for you to bring great-grandma, but we need to plan for bringing great-grandma. So it starts at 10 o'clock. We suggest a $15 donation. Everything that we do goes back into supporting the house. We are on city streets. If you choose not to make a donation, we are walking on city streets. But we do need an RSVP because we need to know to expect you. And we will meet